So Monday was yesterday, and we had a lot of stuff to talk about here on Gusto TV Africa. And we had interesting conversations around everything that's happening with the Afrobeats movement, and of course, how our artists have been doing quite a lot, to see that we continue to grow and, of course, manifest the fullness of what it is that Afrobeat has to give in 2025. Remember, we had conversations around the underwhelming performance of some of our big stars in the year 2024. The past couple of months have been up and down. We've experienced a lot of downsides to the Afrobeats movement. We've had situations where we had to question our sanity sometimes to think that, oh, why are these people moving like this, supposed OGs and things of that nature. And yesterday, it was another reportage about an OG trying to undermine the efforts of a new cat. And we reported all that here at Gusto TV Africa. If you want to see the recap of that, please go to our YouTube channel and you get a recap of everything that we talked about yesterday as regards all the subject I just mentioned. But today is a different day. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning here in Lagos, Nigeria, and at Gusto TV Africa. We are back to give you the best of reportage, everything Afrobeat and everything that it represents. And we're so proud of this movement. And for us, this is our life, right? This is our bread and beans, if I have to put it that way. Like I said, it's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and today is a whole new conversation about new stuff happening. And I'm here to share with you tips and beats around the Afrobeat space, if I have to put it that way, because it's bigger than a space right now. It seems like we cannot be contained at this moment because the growth of Afrobeat is unprecedented, and a lot of people have tapped in. A lot more people are going to tap in. We are crossing borders. It's a cross carpeting type of thing right now. Afrobeat is the biggest export out of Africa, and we are so proud of this movement. But guys, thank you so much for all that you do for us here at Gusto TV Africa. We appreciate you. We see your likes, your comments, we see the shares. We see you joining in every time that we are live, sharing the news with you. And please continue to do so and continue to support our community because we do love and appreciate everything that you do. Please do let me know where you're watching this live news from. I'm in the Lagos City. The best place, the heartbeat of Afro beats. And this morning we have interesting news around Wizkid. We have interesting news around Davido. We have interesting news around Fido Surpasses. There's a lot of conversations around these people. And this morning is going to be super packed. Like I said, let me know where you're watching us from. Now, let's quickly dive in here. So the conversation around Afrobeat has actually really metamorphosed into a whole new level. And this morning, it was reported that funds have climbed up to the number 2 spot on Apple Music Top 100. But it's like we're getting a new twist around this, and because yesterday Kesa Dance was the number 2 song, knocking Davido off the perch to take the number 2 spot, while Davido, just jumped down to the number 3 spot. But right now we are getting like real-time information to say, well, Kesa Dance is back on the number 2 chart, and Funds featuring Odumodu Black and Chike, that record is by Davido, by the way, has now jumped down to the number 3 spot. So what's this back and forth movement that we're having with Wizkid and Davido? It looks like a fierce battle between both of them. I remember categorically when this record dropped, a lot of people were saying, oh, this record is going to outlast any of Wizkid's record. And of course, it did show up and showed out in the charts. It was consistently doing numbers. It was number 1 for a long time. It came to number 2. There were a little bit ups and downs with the record. And of course, Fido came in on the number 1 spot and actually took a stool right there. He has sat pretty on the number 1 spot for several weeks. And right now, it's like a battle between Davido and Wizkid, because yesterday, Kesa Dance was back on number 2. And of course, Funds slipped down to the number 3 spot, but right now it's looking like Funds went back up this morning exactly around 6:25, 7 o'clock this morning Nigerian time. But Kese Dance has now spiraled back to, like, the number 2 spot. So it's looking really it's looking really good for the 30 BGs and of course the FCs who are actually eating good right now. We have Bobo Junior watching and says good morning to you, Junior Bobo. We appreciate you, and I hope that you are joining and telling your friends to join in as well. Tell us where you're watching this live from, and then we'll definitely give you a shout. Anyways, moving further down to the same conversation, are we now saying that Davido's push for this record is dwindling down, is dwindling, I beg your pardon, um because there was some fierce footwork, if I have to put it in. All the blogs, all the biggest music outlets were actually pushing and promoting this record. And to myself, I'm thinking, like, is this organic push, or is this something back at the back of, maybe I give you something and then you help me, publicize this record. But one thing we know for sure, a good record is a good record, and it is going to definitely sell itself. But right now we see that Kesa Dance, it's back up on number 2, so congratulations to the FCs on that one. Let's see how it plays out. Is Funds going to tip down to the number 1 spot, or Kesa Down's going to knock Fido off the perch and take the number 1 spot? Because the OGs are saying, you know what, these new cats are doing pretty decent, but we're gonna teach them how it is done. Anyways, that's the conversation around that. And moving further, we have Wizkid, right? So Wizkid is in the news this morning, and for what is worth, Wizkid's Morayo's album, was actually um, um, reported to have surpassed 191 million streams on Spotify after 51 days of its release, and that's a big one for Wizkid, and that's a big one for the FCs. The push for the album was really, really great. The rollout plan took a different turn, because honestly, that's the first time we would see a rollout plan in that manner. I want to say this categorically: it was quite toxic, not something that we definitely really expected in terms of how a rollout plan should be. But Wizkid said, you know what, I'm not trying to go the traditional P, where it's like I'm paying bloggers, I'm paying PR guys to actually help me promote this album. I'm gonna get into the conversation however it is I deem fit. And there was a whole back and forth with Davido, name calling, and it was so messy. The fan base was definitely divided. The FC's going at the 30 BGs. It was a whole mess. But the album dropped, and a lot of people were saying, yeah, this is a pretty decent album. It's a solid album. And of course, the other fan base will say, nah, it's mid. And people are saying, this is not what we expect from a Wizkid. Wizkid is actually hitting a decline, if I have to put it that way. But that's a conversation for the fans. That's a conversation that you want to also have in the comment section. Do you think that Wizkid is gradually hitting a decline, or it is time to wrap up the music and focus on other things? Remember, he's been heavily criticized for not supporting young artists, and I don't want to really like touch base with all that. No, we reported that a couple of days ago about his artist that I don't want to mention his name because it looks like a messy situation. But that's Wizkid. He has always been a solo guy, and people are saying that's the difference between him and Davido, because Davido is the guy that would take people on. He has a whole army around him. He signed Morayo. He signed a lot of people to the record label, and he's actually pushing his artists. But we cannot say the same thing for Wizkid. Anyway, those comparisons will definitely be back. But one thing is solid. He has had an amazing album with the Morayo project, if we have to say so. And there is one conversation from a guy on X by the name Letom. If I cannot pronounce that, please forgive me. And he says, let's be honest, Morayo was a flop. If Burner released an album performing like Morayo, media outlets would be declaring his career over. That's 2 back-to-back album flops for Wizkid. What is next? Anyways, that's a conversation that we're trying to have this morning, guys. Do you think that the Morayo album is a flop? Do you think that this is not Wizkid's best project yet? Because right now it's like people are having this conversation, and they're really serious with this P, because Wizkid dropped this project, right, last year, and of course a lot of people were anticipating. There were teasers. There was the Brent Fires record that actually swept a lot of people off their feet because it was a smooth record. But right now it's looking as though it wasn't an album that we actually dipped. All right, you don't even need to dip it much. A good project is a good project, but right now a lot of people are talking. But are you a part of the group that says Wizkid's time in the music industry is over, or there's still more from Wizkid? Because it's looking like there's a whole new crop of artists, thumping in and trying to take the spotlight. Is it the next big thing for Afrobeat? If you can see, it's a Fido moment right now, because Fido is actually doing a whole madness. Is actually surpassing people's expectations, right? And I think that it was actually very audacious for for Fido to actually come into the industry with the way that he came in, and is actually taking the right spot and the top spot, if I have to say that. Because respect where respect is due. Fido's camp, they've been doing really awesome with this guy, and I feel like it was a pretty strategic record, right? Coming from the back of 2024, it's the end of the year and it's a new year, and it decides to put that record out. That record transitioned from the latter part of 2024 into 2025. It's a new year. Joy is coming. Joy is coming. And I think it's a record that everybody can actually sing and dance to. Your mom's gonna sing to it. Your dad is gonna say, "And joy is coming," even if they cannot actually hear any other thing on the record. But I actually think that that record is solid, and you can literally hear everything that Fido is saying. And undoubtedly, he's sitting pretty on the number one spot. He's been there for several weeks, and this jam is doing crazy numbers. If you actually think about it, right, Fido came in with a whole new level of ease, and it's a whole new fresh sound, and people are actually saying, you know what, we actually really fuck this, because to be honest, it's a whole lot of semi nonsenses we've been hearing, or we've been hearing the same things all over and all over again. But this is a fresh new sound, and we kind of like it, and we appreciate your effort as an artist and the push that this record is getting from the management. If you go on TikTok, literally everywhere, Joy is coming. International spaces are actually eating the song and having a good time with it. So big ups to Fido and his camp for doing the most with this record. And if you can see on your screen, he was actually gifted the turntable plaque for the number one song in the country. And of course, he's been doing so well. Congratulations to Fido. I really think that this guy is actually one of the biggest revelations out of 2024, spiraling into 2025. Are we going to see more coming from Fido? Are we going to even see a collaboration, or probably just get a project to understand the totality of his artistry? Well, that's a conversation for another day. But if you look on your screen, you will see Fatai saying whoever is managing Fido should get him a Davido feature for his Joy is Coming hit song. Davido will murder that song and help turn it into a global hit. Anyways, guys, do you think that Fido deserves to jump into the Davido bandwagon? Remember, there was a lot of back and forth with him, saying different things about Sakbolo and all of that stuff. Well, let's not get into that. But do you think that Davido jumping on this hit track is going to give it another type of push and probably solidify Fido's place as one of the biggest Afrobeat stars in the year 2025? Let us know in the comment section what you think about this one. And speaking of newbies and new cuts and new revelations in 2025, one person that I absolutely love and respect his artistry is Ayomaf. And Ayomaf is ready for 2025. Listen, this guy has been consistently doing his music and taking it to a whole new level, getting his gangs up. Every time you see an Ayomaf video, his boys are with him. He's taking this art into something that, is quite interesting to see. And I respect him for that, because trust me, a lot of times I will often say people brand themselves out of the reality that they exist in, but that's not Ayomaf's case. He's actually, showing up and actually just saying, you know what, my music is going to match with my style, is going to match with the hard work, is going to match with the cloud. Everything around my music is intentional, and I really, really applaud his team for that. So Ayomaf is coming with a new song called Panic, and he has teased this one on his social media platforms and is saying, guys, give me a date because I am coming and I am ready for you guys. And I've actually heard a snippet of this song and it sounds pretty dope. And I'm really, really waiting to see what Ayomaf does with this record. Speaking of new cuts, again, we have the one and only Falap on this. And this guy, he's been really, 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 really doing so well, right? As a new cat, I think that he's been quite intentional with his artistry as well. Has an amazing song, and for what is worth, this song is actually charting on the number 4 spot on Apple Music Top 100. Congratulations to Falap on this, and big shout out to Bella Shmurda, because taking this guy on and actually refining him to be one of the biggest artists that is sought for in the year 2025. And of course, that actually came from the back of 2024, actually. So we're seeing a whole new brand new Falap on this, and big ups to Dangbana Records for doing so much for him, and of course just really just putting him out there as one of the biggest sensations to look out for in the year 2025. Guys, do you think that Falap this deserves all the praise that he's getting? Do you think he deserves all the shine that he's getting? Guys, let us know in the comment section if you actually feel that this guy is the next big thing after fried rice and chicken or turkey. Guys, well, congratulations to everyone who's winning. We're a big part of the community for people who win and show up, and we would definitely support them. Guy, we see you best makes the best all the way from Jos. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Continue to support us here at Gusto TV, and we are your guys actually. So thank you so much, Mr. Best, for your support, and please tell all your family members, your friends, what we do here at Gusto TV Africa. Anyways, this is where we wrap up the news this moment, and we want to say a very big thank you to everyone who joined us on the morning drive. We want to say a very big thank you for your support, for your likes, for everything that you do for us at Gusto TV Africa. Please do not forget that we're going to be back later in the day to share exclusive beats and breaking news with you guys, because today is one of the best days in the history of Afrobeats, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Please, before I leave, I want to say something.